And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode 14. 14. I had to look it up earlier today because I didn't know what episode we were doing. Episode 14 of the Hot Stove Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Nunez, and we're here with a very nice formal edition of the Hot Stove Podcast. And we'll explain to you why in a second. But first, let my co-hosts introduce themselves.
Mark,
Hi
I'm
here.
fixing my bow tie.
That's great. I'm currently reigning FanDuel champion, Josh.
I'm the guy who took the Chad Henne stack this weekend. I did.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. So the topic of our episode today, the reason we're so formal is because we have a very special occasion. If you notice, I'm wearing a very small Chicago Bears bow tie. We decided to go a little bit formal here for today because we are doing the second annual Stovie Awards, where we take a look back at the year that was in sports and what a year it was indeed. Now, before we get to that, we will run over a little bit of housekeeping here. Some year-end stats from both our trivia and our FanDuel contest. So the way we're going to do trivia moving forward is that every year it's going to reset, and we'll have a yearly trivia champion. Our 2019 trivia champion, or our 2020, sorry, our 2020 trivia champion was Mark with 31.5 points. Austin was in second place with 15.5. Oh, Josh also had 15.5. Myself and one-time special guest Justin Russo had 6. Excuse me.
You got 6 in one episode?
3, and Pat Fernberg had 1. So after we get out of the Stovies and into more playoff coverage and especially moving forward after that, we'll be doing a bunch of trivia. We'll have some special guests on the show. So we will be adding to those as the year 2021 goes along. And then finally, before we jump right into the awards, because we have a packed show for you guys, we got to update our FanDuel standings. End the year off right with Josh Boheim pulling out his fifth first place finish in the last 6 weeks or something like that at a torrential pace just to finish last. We had Josh coming in first with 148.5 points. Mark in second with 137.5 points. I came in third with 132.74. And Austin came in at 99.72 with the Chad Henne Mecole Hardman stack. So
It was a bold move. In cotton, it certainly didn't pay off.
Indeed. So some overall points here. Our 2020 FanDuel, our 2020 NFL season FanDuel champion is Austin Westrich. Everybody give him a round of applause. Congrats on Austin winning it with 39 points. Mark and I tied for second with 38 points.
God damn it.
And Josh had 35 points, bringing up the rear. All in all, it was a great season. Josh made it very competitive at the end, and I can't wait to do it again for the 2021 season. A couple of outliers here. I finished with the most first place finishes with 5. I had 5 total on the season. Austin finished with the most second place finishes with 6. Mark finished with the most third place finishes with 8. Mark had 8.
I am the king of finishing in third place.
And then Josh had 6 fourth place finishes. They were probably the first 6 weeks of the season, if I had to take a guess.
I'll tell you,
Josh came out in the hole.
There was a real change where I started looking at the lineups on Sunday morning again before the show was over. 1 second.
He's gone.
He's gone. All right, he has to attend to something. But anyways, Josh did come in with 6 fourth place finishes and also came in last. So, like I said, we'll be doing that again next season, updating y'all on the FanDuel contest. And we'll also be doing some FanDuel contests for other sporting events in between now and then. We'll do some baseball ones. We'll do some basketball ones. I'm sure we'll do a UFC event here and there. We'll do the Masters, any sort of majors or anything like that. In golf, we'll absolutely be doing contests for those as well. So make sure to tune back in for that kind of FanDuel stuff. Josh, do you have something to add before we get into the show?
I'm back.
All right.
What is that shit-eating grin you currently have on your face?
Are you doing the bet, Josh?
Hey, man. No, it's great to be here on the Stovies.
Okay. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 main categories for you all tonight, where we have each come up with our pick, or in Austin's case, picks. But in the meantime, beforehand, we each decided to come up with some 2020 superlatives. Now that can mean a bunch of different things. It can be, I don't know, guy who ate his toe in 2020, or the Guinness Book of World Records holder for longest tightrope across your mom's face, or something like that. But
Ooh,
he decided to come up with some superlatives. Now, if anybody would like to go first, we're gonna go. Each person is gonna go and give all of their superlatives at once, and then when we get to the awards, we'll each go one by one and give our picks. But who would like to start with their superlatives for the 2020 Stovies?
I'll start them off.
Okay.
I got a pretty good one to start. I'm gonna start with the one I'm a little less passionate about. Get into the bigger one. My first one is the never bet on players of the year. They're both NFL players, quarterbacks. The first one, Josh knows him. I call him by this name every week. I hate him. Piss Urine Rivers. You never bet on Urine Rivers. He burned me way too many times, and watching him throw an interception on a 2-minute drill one more time might make me puke. And then the next one, where I may be down $300 total in 2020, negative on this quarterback, a former Eagle who played for the Bears this year, Nick Foles. Never bet on Nick Foles. He is putrid, ladies and gentlemen. If he's ever back in the league, don't let him fool you. It's not gonna happen. The next category, this was one of my more favorite ones of the day. It's called the Super Ultra Mega Galaxy Brained Butt Buddies of the Year, and it is going to go to Doug Peterson and Matt Nagy. We know how massive their brains are. I mean, just a quick stat here for you: the Eagles went for the most fourth downs in the NFL, but they were bottom 5 in success rate. So someone has to make sense of that. Jake Elliott went from attempting 31 field goals a season, first and second year, to 19 this year. Can anyone make sense of it? Somehow this guy is so ahead of the NFL that he's behind it. Back to the future or what? I don't know.
Future to the past.
Future to the past. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. Matt Nagy, I mean, I don't think much needs to be said. As soon as he stopped calling plays, they're averaging 26 points a game. I mean, what's going on with that guy? He thinks he's I'm ahead of my time. I'm going to get these bad players, Mooney and everybody, to participate. And then all of a sudden, he stops calling plays. They go to a simple playbook where they have receivers run real routes, and look at this. They're playing good football. These guys' brains are too big for their own use. And so they're the Super Ultra Mega Galaxy Brained Butt Buddies of the year.
All right. Thank you very much, Austin. Let's give a round of applause for Austin's superlatives in the year 2020. Now, who would like to go next?
I only have one, so I'll do it.
Oh, okay, go, Mark.
My superlative is the play of the year that did not count. So this is something that happened in sports.
Pull up a video of it.
I do have a video of it pulled up.
Excellent.
Okay, I just allowed you to share your screen. So,
oh, nice.
Mark.
All right, perfect. And for me, there's only one real candidate for this. That is John Rahm skipping the ball across the water in just one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
You're going to have to replay it once it's done, by the way, because it took a while for my screen to catch up to that.
Yeah, I caught it right on the green.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's in the hole.
Would you like me to start it over?
Start it over. This is the play that didn't count of 2020 for Mark Rowlands.
Play that didn't count in 2020.
I'm a little disappointed these guys don't
One
out in the real tournament.
2, 3 skips across the water into the bank, rolls onto the green.
This
breaks out.
This would be less disrespectful in a tournament than Bryson DeChambeau driving a par 4 green.
Look at this. The pin's even slanted right, and it aims for the left of the pin.
It's beautiful.
It's amazing. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Just not even on a golf course, just period. So that is my play of the year that did not count.
All right, Josh, tell us your superlatives here.
Well, we'll start with the one again I'm probably least motivated about, and that's my dumbest mainstream guy of the year. Have to go to ESPN's new NFL Live analyst, Dan Orlovsky. More punchable face in media than Dan Orlovsky. Respect to him for actually commenting to people on Twitter, but he has no moral compass. This man is left and right on any issue and every issue. He sucks, and hearing him makes me a dumber person. Thank you, Dan Orlovsky. That's my dumbest mainstream guy. Second up on my superlatives is going to be one that I just thought about, actually, thanks to Mark's recommendation. So my biggest suck fest of the year that didn't actually matter is DK Metcalf's play where he chases down Buda Baker 90 yards and attached him. Great play. Awesome play, which he probably learned from having that same thing happen to him earlier on the year that everyone seems to have forgotten. Do we all forget in the Seattle-Dallas game when Trayvon Diggs gets burned, chases him down, and forces a fumble?
I do.
I'm going to keep it real with you, Chief. It's the Cowboys, so it don't matter.
I mean, it should be the exact opposite. The Cowboys, so it should matter. And Trey Diggs he should be up for Rookie of the Year finalist for defense.
No, he sucks.
He broke his foot and he came back in 4 weeks.
That literally doesn't mean you're good.
He's an animal.
Drew Brees is 41, broke 11 ribs, and came back in 3.
Okay. Yeah,
that did happen.
Third out of my fourth would be my biggest jackpot of the year. We'll take you back to September 26th, the night of Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals. I took Dallas money line as part of a 3-team parlay, along with Israel Adesanya against Paul Acosta and Jan Blachowicz.
Polish power.
Exactly. That's my biggest jackpot payout of 2020. Thank you, Dallas Stars, for fighting in that double overtime game.
My biggest jackpot of 2020, my only jackpot of 2020 was Jets money line against the Browns last week.
I had Jets money line 2 weeks ago. It was a beautiful thing. You're not going to tell us what the jackpot was?
I mean, it was a $10 parlay for 160. So that was my biggest win of the year.
Very nice.
Very nice. Yeah.
And then just the last one, I had a little in memoriam that I was doing. I don't know if we had it planned.
Oh, we didn't. I should have put together an in memoriam slideshow. Damn it.
Yeah. I just had a couple that came to mind. I don't know if you want to save it or whatever.
Well, yeah, we'll do an in memoriam segment right now. So if we think of anything, we'll tell you.
Great. I first off was John Thompson, former coach of the Georgetown Hoyas, first black coach to win an NCAA tournament back in 1984. Really a father figure to many of his players and the heartbeat of Georgetown basketball as they know it. So John Thompson was one of them. Don Shula of the Dolphins. Undefeated. What more do you think of than Don Shula with a cigar in his mouth, just smoking one up, winning chips like a stud. And then, obviously, he couldn't be forgotten on the list, but Kobe Bryant, of course. I don't know what else to say.
Those are as well.
I also have some.
Rest in peace to David Stern, one of the greatest commissioners in the history of professional sport. Rest in peace to Rocky Johnson, otherwise known as the father of Dwayne Rock Johnson and WWE Hall of Famer himself. What else do we got here?
Scrolling through the names that matter. Is that what you're doing?
Rest in peace, Tavares Jackson. I remember watching him play.
Oh my God, I forgot.
Oh my God.
Rest in peace, Hank Steinbrenner. Rest in peace, Bob Watson, first black general manager to win a World Series with the Yankees back in '96. Rest in peace, Jerry Sloan, former coach and player of the Utah Jazz. Rest in peace, Paul Westphal, NBA champion as both a coach and player who passed away last week. Rest in peace, Wes Unseld, only player in NBA history, second maybe the only second player I can't remember to win Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season. Rest in peace, Tom Seaver. Rest in peace, Lou Brock. Rest in peace, Gale Sayers, one of the greatest running backs to ever play football. Rest in peace, Bob Gibson, Whitey Ford, and why can't I think of
Joe Morgan?
What'd you say?
Joe Morgan, Al Kaline.
Joe Morgan, Al Kaline. Give me 1 second because I can't remember. Kevin Green as well. Tommy Heinsohn. Rest in peace, Tommy Heinsohn as well.
And Casey Jones.
And
I have one last one. This is it was this year, but rest in peace, Floyd Little. Just passed away.
Yeah,
Floyd Little, one of the three great SU running backs to wear the number 44. Actually, Larry Zonka might have also worn 44, but one of the three main.
You're right. Yeah, Jim Brown, and Ernie Davis, right?
Yeah. And those three guys are the reason 44 will never be worn again at Syracuse University. And obviously, Floyd went on to have a great career with the Denver Broncos. And so, that one was, I think Casey Jones, Casey Jones was at the end. It was in December, but big rip to Floyd Little as well.
Yeah.
And Don Larson. I believe Don Larson died this in 2020. The only pitcher to ever throw a perfect game in the World Series.
There you go. That is our in memoriam segment to those and to everybody else in the sports world and at large who passed away. We will miss you. Thank you very much. Now it's time for my superlatives of 2020, and I have some stuff to show for this one, everybody. All right, give me 1 second to set up the highlights here. All right, so first superlative of 2020 is quarantine hero. Back in March, everything shut down, and you know what we needed? We needed a savior. And you know what was the first sport to come back in the pandemic? Marble racing.
Oh, boy.
My quarantine hero goes out to Gel's Marble Runs. Let's watch some footage here. Now, I tell you what, in the world without sports, we all needed entertainment, whether it was turning to Netflix to binge watch television or watching old baseball games like I was after I got put on ESPN.
Same.
We all needed some sort of entertainment. And you know what was here for us in 2020? Marble racing. Now, you may look at it, and this originally started out as the Obscure Sport of the Year award, but it turned into the Quarantine Hero award. Because when you look at this, I mean, it's high octane, fully regulated, league-wide marble racing action. It's available on YouTube. It's free to watch. You don't have to leave your house. And it's escapism at the highest level, the absolute highest level. Now, all right, so my second superlative here, if I could pull it up, that'd be fantastic. Thank you, Zoom. Go away, Zoom. All right, we're good. My second superlative is Twitter idiot of 2020.
Oh, no. Oh, geez.
And that award goes to Aubrey Huff, one of the biggest idiots you'll ever see on social media, literally ever, who's, I won't say borderline, whose racist comments on Twitter this year got him uninvited from the San Francisco Giants World Series reunion party. And then this is what he had to say. Quote, "If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be having a reunion. But if they want to stick to their politically correct, progressive BS, that's fine." Now, I don't know what planet Mr. Huff is living on, but last I checked, when the Giants won the World Series in 2010, it wasn't because of him. Anybody care to?
Au contraire, if you look to the photo to your left, you'll see that he hit a 2-run dinger in Game 4.
He
in
did
the
have
third inning of Game 4, the real turning point of the series right there.
He did have a pretty big series, if I remember correctly, in a good postseason. I think he might have won NLCS MVP.
Regardless, he is
that year.
a absolute buffoon on Twitter.
Correct.
Oh, he is absolutely. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, like, I do think he had a pretty big like playoffs for them. So
for the purposes of this award, it does not matter. If you want to see some truly hateful bullshit, go to Aubrey Huff's Twitter and laugh at it.
Please tell me we read the next one, the CNN article.
Yes. So my third superlative of the year goes to conspiracy theorist of the year, and that is what's his name? Bill Falwell, who was a Republican candidate for the 17th district in Illinois this past election. Did not win, thank Christ.
What?
But he wins this award for being not only a 9/11 truther, but a man that believes that Beyonce is part of the Illuminati. And the fact that we allow these people to actually run in political races says very, very bad things about the state of the United States in 2020. But that's the last of the political statements I'll make today. Bill Falwell sucks, and he's the conspiracy theorist of 2020 for me.
Can you, before you close the article, can you just scroll down and see that first quote he puts in? Go to YouTube and punch in 90.
Oh, yeah. Go to YouTube and punch in building number 7. It's the third building that went down with the Twin Towers on 9/11. Nothing hit this building, not a thing, and it fell down entirely upon its own. It looks like as if it's a standard commercial implosion demolition, because that's exactly what it is.
Wow.
I hope this dumbass gets COVID. Let's move on. All right. We're out of the superlatives. And
Can I
now,
add something for the Twitter idiot of the year?
go for it.
Yeah.
So I saw this. I only saw this a couple days ago. So this is actually for 2021, but I don't care. The whole Shaq Rudy Gobert thing happened,
Yes.
like where Shaq was like, yeah, Rudy Gobert's an inspiration. It
Shaq
shows
was
kids
taking
that you can
jabs and blah,
average.
blah, blah, as he does.
Yeah. He said he should be an inspiration. He shows kids you can average 11 points a game in the NBA and make $200 million, which is very funny. That's a very funny statement. And someone, I don't remember it's obviously a troll Twitter account, but I don't care. I just need this take to be heard. Someone said he would rather have Rudy Gobert than Shaquille O'Neal as his center. He said, if you look at the numbers, which first of all, if you're looking at numbers and you say you would rather have Rudy Gobert than Shaq, there's something completely wrong with you. If you look at the numbers, Rudy Gobert, 64% field goal percentage, 68% free throw percentage, 11 rebounds a game. Shaquille O'Neal, 53% field goal percentage, 64% free throw percentage, 11 rebounds a game. Rudy Gobert is a better defender than Shaq. I would rather have Rudy Gobert as my center than
Shaq also
Shaquille
played
O'Neal.
15 years, the last 5 of which he was played like 6 minutes a game. So shout out to that guy for being Twitter idiot of 2020 part 2.
It's the worst. It's the single worst sports take I have ever heard. No ill.
I'll change your mind.
Gobert.
I'll change your mind.
You should be in the group chat with me and Josh.
Shut up. But no, actually, it's the second worst sports take I've ever heard because Josh insists he can knock out Muhammad Ali. But no ill will towards Rudy Gobert. Great defender, gets rebounds. If you need to throw it to him in the paint, you can. It's Shaquille gosh darn O'Neal.
Yeah, this is a family show, Mark. All right.
This is a family show. It's an award show. It's Shaquille gosh darn O'Neal. You're an idiot if you would take Rudy Gobert over Shaq. You have a serious mental issue.
Correct. Shout out to that guy.
All
All
right,
right.
screw that guy.
So let's move on to our first of our 7 major awards for the Stovies, and that we're going to start negative so we can get into the positive later. Our first award of the evening is going to go to LVP, or least valuable person of 2020. Josh printed out pictures, it looks like.
Oh no. I'm reading.
You have
Okay.
a speech written? What the hell is this?
My notes page.
All right.
Notes.
LVP, or least valuable person of 2020. Who wants to start with their LVP of the year 2020?
I can go. I'll just start off everyone. I can do that.
Yeah, we'll probably go in the
Keep
same order.
Yeah.
This is my second and final Philadelphia Eagles related LVP. It is the entire fan base of Philadelphia. You are all degenerate scumbags, and I hate all of you, including myself. Every one of you. You boo your team out of a championship. You boo people off the field if they only score 13 points and a half. You send death threats to people who aren't even playing in the game. I mean, this fan base should be stopped. Just cancel the team. Send it off to a new city. Philadelphia sports are done.
Mine is also an Eagles take.
Okay.
Mine is the combination of Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz. Wow.
Yeah.
I if you asked me 3 years ago, or if you told me 3 years ago, hey, in 2021 for the 2020 Stovies, your famous award show that you did,
World famous.
if I went back in time and said, for the 2020 least valuable player, you would say Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson, I wouldn't believe myself. I would say, no way. We just won a Super Bowl. Carson Wentz is going to be healthy next year. Everything's going to be fine and dandy for Philadelphia for 10 years. I'm going to be a very happy Eagles fan 3 years from now. And then they stunk. And I'm not going to put all the blame on one of them, but I'm absolutely going to put all the blame on both of them combined. So Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz, least valuable people. That's all I have to. Two defensive players wanted to fight Doug Peterson on Sunday. I don't know if you saw this. Two of them had to be held back.
Well, that's what you get for
fighting
trying
Doug
to
Peterson.
deliberately throw an NFL football game.
I mean, I wanted him to lose the game. Sure. I wanted the Eagles to lose.
Every fan can root for them to lose the game. The coach can't make it happen.
Exactly. When Nate Sudfeld came in, I was like, this is not how I want to lose this game. I want to lose this game.
Let's be fair. If they wanted to lose by more, they would have just kept Jalen Hurts in. So
I have a mantra, by the way, that I kind of stick to fairly regularly. Coaches and players don't tank, front offices do. And I think that's usually fairly good. I mean, Miami is a perfect example of this, right?
Yeah.
Like, they were very clearly tanking, but also at the same time, Brian Flores came in and built what's probably the best culture of any team in the National Football League. And now look at them. They're a playoff contender, and I'm sure they'll get better even in the future. That was a moment of active tanking by a head coach in the NFL. There's no other way you can slice it. Down by 3 in the fourth quarter, and you put in Nate Sudfeld. Now, I know the report that came out that Doug Peterson did say to the media that at some point Nate Sudfeld was going to play. That's not the time. It's just not the time.
It wasn't the time after you decide not to tie the game and go for it on fourth down and miss it. It could have been time. If you wanted to really make it seem like you were tanking without actually doing it, just do it at halftime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Troll. I was trying to win that as he was gargling it out of his mouth.
wow.
All right, John, who's your least valuable person of 2020?
Yeah, well, this really made me think back to a different award I used to give out every year, and it made me think of the bum of the year. And if I had to really think about that, I came across one guy that truly was very impactful and yet also a complete bum. And so to me, I had to go with none other than Bryson DeChambeau. He was my least valuable person because he didn't do anything. If anything, he hurt the game that I've come to love in the last couple of years, and he'll soon be gone. He'll soon be gone. I will not have to hear about him. He won his major. His 15 minutes of fame will hopefully soon be up.
Can you talk about the fact that Mark is on the phone?
That's very important. It looks very businesslike. It looks very cool. I'm on a corporate.
Bryson DeChambeau.
All right, so I'm gonna get into mine. My pick for the least valuable person. I got to pull it up again. I have actually examples for every single one of my awards. So we're gonna have to stand by as I screen share every single time I bring something up. But my pick for least valuable person of 2020 is a twofer, and it's a man that I have two people that I have talked about endlessly on this podcast. My least valuable people for the year 2020 are Adam Gase and Greg Williams. Adam Gase and Greg Williams are a walking disgrace to the sport of football. I've said it 100 times, and I'll continue to say it. The job that Adam Gase did this year, I guess you could throw the entire Jets organization in here because we got to ask how he had a job for 16 games. What were we doing? I mean, what are we doing here? You know, like,
Isn't that the front office thing?
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. But then we want to talk about coaches tanking. Let's bring it back a few weeks, right? Jets Raiders. The reason that Greg Williams got fired because he was actively tanking on a football field. I couldn't possibly think that I could think that Greg Williams was more of a piece of human garbage until I saw him run a zero blitz with a spy on Derek Carr up by 4 at the 50-yard line with 1 play left. That's, again, active tanking by a coach in the NFL. It's disgraceful, and I hope he never gets a job again. Same with Adam Gase. It's disgusting, is what it is.
Don't worry. Adam Gase mutually parted ways today with the Jets. He decided he should step down as well.
Correct. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He decided he should step down. They mutually parted ways. You're right.
That's like if your girlfriend broke up with you and you're like, nah, we decided to split. That's all right. Cool.
It was amicable. We decided it was best for the both of us that we split up. She didn't.
I don't even like her. Plenty of fish in the sea. The Browns, the Bills.
I saw a report today that Adam Gase might be in consideration for a assistant position at Alabama, and I hope it happens. So I hope he can tank that damn school so hard, so hard. Anyways, Adam Gase and Greg Williams are my least valuable people of the year 2020. Now let's move on to our next award here, and that is the Diamond in the Rough Award. That's going to be an award for an underrated athlete or an underrated moment. So Austin, if you'd like to start with your Diamond in the Rough Award for 2020, who would that be?
Wow. This is a tough one. I think someone else is going to say this person's name, and I kind of want to talk about something else more. So I'm going to go with the 2020 Dayton Flyers basketball team as the diamond in the rough, an A10 school finishing 3rd in the AP poll going into March Madness. Surely would have been one of the top teams to beat. It really was a season like we haven't seen in a very long time by a mid-major not named Gonzaga. And, I mean, it would have been awesome to see what would have happened. Honestly, it's kind of disappointing that it was never gotten to be seen. But, yeah, I think that's my diamond in the rough because you don't see 8-10 teams come out and be top 3 in the AP poll very often.
Austin's alma mater, actually.
Oh, yeah, my alma mater for 1 semester.
Wait,
Dayton University.
What? I went to Dayton.
I didn't know this. You went to Dayton?
First semester of freshman year, you went to Dayton.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, I gotta ask anybody. Did anybody have any honorable mentions for LVP? After we all give out our awards, we'll see if anybody had any honorable mentions. Because I know Austin wrote multiple people for each award. Did anybody have any honorable mentions for least valuable person?
Yeah, Rob Manfred.
That's a good one. Rob Manfred and the MLB owners was a runner-up for me.
Yeah.
For many different reasons.
I mean, that was it. I would be asked. I have 2 options for all of these, like going into each award, and each one is just a game time decision. So Rob Manfred was the other one I was considering for LVP because what a scumbag.
We were talking about David Stern, one of the best commissioners in the history of professional sport. Rob Manfred comfortably with Gary Bettman as one of the worst commissioners in the history of professional sport. So
Gary Bettman is, in fact, hot garbage.
Correct.
He today, for seemingly no reason at all, delayed the start of the single and double A seasons.
Okay.
I really think Rob Manfred just wants there to be 60 professional baseball teams. You have major leagues and AAA.
Rob Manfred doesn't like baseball.
Does not care about the lower minor leagues
really
and
doesn't.
how many jobs it provides and how many
Doesn't
people
like the
can
sport.
benefit from it. Yeah, he
Like
doesn't care about the sport.
I got a theory about Rob Manfred's obsession with the teenage audience, but that might be a little bit rated R for this family show.
Yeah.
The thought. Okay.
Okay, no, I didn't say that. Mark,
Let's get After Dark out of this bad boy.
Mark, we got to do an episode of that soon, by the way.
Yeah,
Mark,
we do.
what's your Diamond in the Rough award for 2020?
Mine is going to be, now, if you're a fan of the sport, he's not underrated, but he's underrated in mainstream media, and that's Colin Morikawa. I'm going another golf one here. Colin Morikawa is like our age and dominating the golf world right now. if he's not winning a tournament, he's usually in the top 10. He made 8 straight cuts to start his career this year, which was the record by a rookie not named Tiger Woods. He had one of the lowest scoring averages on tour this year. Colin Morikawa is insanely good at golf. And outside of like golf Twitter and like golf social media and stuff, he does not get talked about nearly enough. So I'm going to say shout out Colin Morikawa for being a really fun golfer to watch too, because he's the opposite of DeChambeau, or he's the opposite of like a Matthew Wolff, I should say. He's a young guy who doesn't hit it 330 yards off the tee. He hits it like 280, and then he hits an iron into the green to 10 feet and he makes the putt. Like it's fun to watch because it's more of a throwback style of golf, and he's a lot different from a lot of the young guys coming on tour right now. So shout out to you, Colin Morikawa.
Yeah, very technical. Love it. So for my diamond in the rough, I kind of took it as an underrated, maybe a slowly turning into a diamond, being chiseled away at, becoming his own. Also, this seems like a good point to announce to this fandom and everyone else who would listen to this that I've officially chosen. I was going to have a press conference. I've officially chosen an NBA team to follow, considering I had an allegiance to the Celtics. I didn't really pick, whatever this and that.
Wait. Breaking news right here. Josh is going to announce his NBA allegiance on air.
Yes. I have some merch coming in actually from the team already. It should be here in a couple days. And I will officially be unbranding myself as a New York Knicks fan.
Ah, no.
That's who I've chosen to plant myself with. That is what I took it, I took into account my other fandoms with the Cowboys and Reds and kind of a big overarching connection to the sport. The theme
of teams that were good 25 years ago.
Correct. My love of Pat Ewing came into it a little bit.
Same with the Sabres, too.
That's fair.
Yeah, and the Sabres, yeah. So all of it really landed on the New York Knicks. I have a hoodie coming in shortly. And that's why my diamond in the rough player, which I did some research on this one, boys. Mitchell Robinson, center for the Knicks this year. I underrated. I never heard of him going into our fantasy draft this year. Last year, I averaged a measly 9 points over 7.5 rebounds, 2 blocks a game.
I didn't know Dikembe Mutombo was playing for the Knicks.
He shot 74% from the field last year.
That's a single season record, by the way. He broke DeAndre's record last year.
Yeah, big fella. He only shot, I think, 6 times a game, maybe, but still pretty damn impressive. Also, this year, following it up pretty nicely with a similar stat line, more rebounds. And I'm thinking with the New York Knicks team this year, 4-3, baby. Don't knock them down. Beat the Hawks the other night. This team might be able to surprise some people. Obviously not ready for the playoffs yet, but they can beat some good teams here, I think. So
yeah, they've won 4 out of their last 5. Julius Randle's playing his ass off.
Really well.
Yeah.
Really well.
He had 28 and 17 last night, I think, with 9 assists.
I'll be honest. I have done more clowning of Tom Thibodeau than pretty much any other coach in NBA history, and he has done a fantastic job so far this year with the Knicks. That team comes ready to play every single evening. And fun fact, you want to know who the top 2 players in minutes per game are? RJ Barrett and Julius Randle. That's classic with a Tibbs team, that he plays them 10 trillion minutes a game. They're both averaging just north of 38 minutes per game.
Wait.
Wow. Yeah.
Gotta love when your per 36 stats are lower than your regular stats.
Yeah, exactly. It's very rare. James Harden is 3rd, and he's at like 35 or something like that minutes a game. So, yeah, it's a Tibbs classic right there. But that's a good pick. That's a really good pick, actually.
It is a really good pick.
We have some great awards going out tonight. Next year, we might have to make like little trophies, or at least I want to make a present. Well, each of us are going to make presentations next year, so we can
that'd be
more formal. Hopefully next year we can like see each other, so maybe we'll all do it in person or something like that.
Yeah,
we'll be on like the table recording it. Anyways, my Diamond in the Rough award for 2020 goes to an entire group of people. And that award is the UFC Bantamweight division. Now, it's not the sexy division that has all the stars like lightweight or like even middleweight with Adesanya, John Jones moving up to heavyweight, that kind of a deal. But for my money, the Bantamweight division isn't as top heavy as a lightweight division is the best division in MMA, the UFC lightweight division, in terms of the top 15 just being loaded with championship caliber guys. The UFC bantamweight division, for my money, is the deepest division in all of mixed martial arts, from the top all the way down to the guys in the 20s. So you got and all these guys have super impressive wins on their resume. You got the champion, Petr Yan, who had just beaten Jose Aldo in an absolute bludgeoning to win the championship after beating Uriah Faber and Jimmy Rivera. Aljamain Sterling, who had a surprising submission over Corey Sandhagen, who's currently ranked third back in July, and we'll get the next title shot. You have Corey Sandhagen, you have Frankie Edgar, a lightweight legend, who's now moving down to 135 and making a run down there. You have Cody Garbrandt, former champion, TJ Dillashaw, former champion, coming back. You have Rob Font, who's a rising star. Really, just beat Marlon Moraes like 2 weeks ago. He's a Puerto Rican. Shout out to Puerto Rico. Marlon Moraes, former championship contender. Jose Aldo, quite possibly the greatest featherweight of all time, has moved down to bantamweight, is making a run down there. Henry Cejudo might come back. Jimmy Rivera has always been a good top 10 presence. You have former champions Dominic Cruz, Uriah Faber, Rafael Asunciao. Marlon Chito Vera is a young gun who did just lose a hard match to Jose Aldo, but he is ready to come up. You guys are right onside the bubble, like Cody Stamann and Song Yadong, who fought to a great draw earlier this year in 2020. You got guys, and even going down further, you got guys like Sean O'Malley. Sugar Sean is outside the top 20 in the UFC rankings. Saeed Nurmagomedov, cousin of Khabib, just recently signed with the promotion, and he's fighting just outside the top 20. Brian Kelleher, Casey Kenny, Nathaniel Wood, who just fought each other, actually. This, to me, is the deepest division in professional mixed martial arts. And honestly, I think we're on the brink here of having some real stars come out the division. We just had a Fighter of the Year campaign by Devison Figueiredo coming out as the flyweight champion, becoming the new face of the flyweight division, going 4-0 in 2020. I'm sorry, 3-0-1. He had the draw in December in 2020, and firmly stamping himself as the class of the bantamweight division, or the flyweight division. And I think bantamweight is up next in terms of like those young stars. Absolutely up next. And y'all need to pay attention to that. If you don't pay attention to it, it might be the Y'all Must Have Forgot award winner for next year. Who knows? I'm predicting for 2021. Big year ahead for the UFC bantamweight division. That's my diamond of the rough pick for this year. Austin, we're going to move on to the next
honorable mentions.
Oh, yeah. Does anybody have any honorable mentions for the Diamond in the Rough award?
I do. That undrafted, unknown running back until Leonard Fournette was released weeks prior to the season, James Robinson, played 14 games just for 1,100 yards, had 50 catches for another 350 yards. Honestly, came out of nowhere. And if he was able to play the last game of the season, would have probably been up top 3 in rushing on the season. So it's pretty remarkable what he did undrafted. Nobody knew his name until 2 weeks before the season. And so he's a diamond in the rough because he was, who knew him? And he played for the worst team in football and was still able to put up those numbers. So solid honorable mention.
Mark, do you have any honorable
For
mentions?
me, it's got to go to Angels second baseman David Fletcher. The Fletch man hit 319 this year. He's consistently made a lot of contact in his major league career. Yeah, that's right, Josh. David Fletcher.
I had him on my fantasy team. Great player. He played 5 different positions. So,
Are you David Fletcher, Mark?
No, it's just he's the type of player I like. He's like 5'6". He hits like, I don't know, 2 home runs a year. He'll hit 315. He'll make a ton of contact. He'll strike out 15 times. He's just a scrappy little second baseman. He has a little more power, and I think he's going to be Dustin Pedroia. That's just what it is. If he adds a touch more power, he will be Dustin Pedroia. And no one talks about him because no one cares about batting average anymore, and I understand that, but I do, because if you hit 300, that means you're good at something in baseball. And yeah, I really like David Fletcher. He's one of my favorites to watch, And yeah, he's my diamond in the rough of the year. Like I said, he hit almost 320 this year. That's no small feat.
Josh, do you have an honorable mention? Because I do.
I do not.
Okay, my honorable mention is this person that I've already mentioned. That's Devison Figueiredo. Diamond in the rough in the truest of senses. For my money, he is easily, if not in the top 5, knocking on the door of that top 5 pound for pound rankings in terms of mixed martial arts fighters. He came out this year and put on a damn show, beating Joseph Benavidez twice to win the featherweight title. Both either first round. This first fight was an early second round knockout. The second fight was a first round disgusting neck crank submission. Then coming out and fighting Alex Perez, who originally was supposed to be Cody Garbrandt, but he got COVID, so he had to pull out, fighting a late replacement Alex Perez and washing him in about a minute and a half back in November with, again, one of the craziest transitions. I'll look to find it real quick, actually. One of the craziest transitions into a submission that you have ever seen. And then coming back on 3 weeks' notice and headlining the next pay-per-view, headlined both November and December, and put on a fight of the year candidate, one of the best fights, if not probably for my money at least, the best fight in featherweight history, with him and Brandon Moreno, an all-out 5-round action war that I think more people need to see. It was easily one of the best fights of 2019, or 2020, my bad. Easily one of the best fights of 2020 and absolutely worth the price of admission. Now, the whole fight is about a minute long, so it's a few minutes long, so we'll watch it. We will watch the Devison Figueiredo versus Alex Perez, versus Alex Perez fight right here.
As to whether or not
can you guys hear it?
Yeah,
I can.
I'll be right back.
All right. He's a pot 2 years of age. Alex Perez is 28. Perez, the taller man by an inch. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Anthony Marnell Jr. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon, the UFC, DAB.
There's some weird skips going on right here.
2077, available to
I don't know what's happening.
on Xbox.
They're just editing.
Oh, okay.
It's weird editing.
You all
Here, we'll skip ahead to the start of the fight here.
UFC.
Oh, okay, never mind. The audio is just messed up, so we're gonna watch it. All right. So this is what we got here. Watching the fight.
Is this his first defense?
Yes, this was his first defense.
Okay.
So he fought 4 times this year. The first time back in February for the title and missed weight. So he was not, even though he knocked out Benavidez, he was not able to capture the title. They fought again in July, and he demolished Joseph Benavidez. And this is it right here. Bam! Rolled down on the leg, and immediately,
Wow.
and I wish they had shown the proper transition because it's edited terribly. But what he did right there was he got into a leg lock, rolled over onto his back, let Perez take his back, and then did the swift transition, immediately put his arm into the guillotine and submitted him. It was like a minute and a half, and it was absolutely beautiful flyweight action. So Devison Figueiredo has quickly become one of the best fighters that the UFC has. And he's a character. He cashed in his first UFC check in order to open a sushi business back in Brazil. A little fun fact about him. And I think he's definitely someone to watch, especially for 2021. Austin, we're going to get to our next award here, and that's going to be biggest disappointment of 2020. What was your biggest disappointment of the year?
My biggest disappointment of the year, very close again, but I'm going to go with the absolutely what seemed to be obscenely high amount of season-ending injuries in the NFL, including both Dak Prescott and Joe Burrow destroying their legs, and Saquon Barkley going down early in the year, McCaffrey not playing many games. You got Bosa going down early. Everyone on San Fran basically going down on that grass early. It felt like everybody was getting hurt, especially in those first couple weeks, especially on whatever grass San Fran was rolling out. I'd find that the most disappointing thing. I mean, especially the most in Joe Burrow's case for what was a very compelling rookie season that now he might not even have a sophomore season because of how gruesome that leg injury was. So I'd say the most disappointing thing was the amount of season-ending injuries in the NFL this year.
Yeah, mine, like, since he said that, I'll change mine, but mine, and this will be an honorable mention, was going to be just Joe Burrow. Like, the Joe Burrow injury was really, that stunk. I hated to see that. He was doing so well for the Bengals, and it was just something that not on the list of things you love to see. But so I will switch mine, and I will just go with the 2020 baseball season. While it had its moments, obviously the playoffs were really entertaining. I'll give them that. It was a really entertaining postseason. 60 games, all the stuff leading up to it. Is there going to be a strike? And I still think there might be a strike at some point this offseason. Or next offseason is when the collective bargaining agreement is up. So at some point in the next 2 off seasons, I think there's going to be a strike against Rob Manfred.
We'll have to save that for when we have a special friend of the show come on the podcast.
Yes. Yeah. I would like to talk to that friend of the show about that. But yeah, everything about it just didn't feel right. You had great players having bad years. You had bad players having great years because it's 60 games. Who knows what can happen? I get there's a level of excitement to that, but at the same time, it just nothing about it felt like a normal baseball season to me. And that was disappointing. And so for me, I'll go with the entire 2020 baseball season as the biggest disappointment of 2020 for me. And the Dodgers won the World Series, which I just hate to see because Dave Roberts is a bad manager and I hate the Dodgers.
Sure. So just to go with the Joe Burrow thing, tell me about it. I own him in a dynasty league. It's tragic. I hope he can make it back by week 3. For my biggest disappointment of the year, I'm going to paint the picture for you. Put yourself 3 years ago, July 4th. What were you doing? For me, it might have been even more than that, maybe 4 years ago. I mean, the NBA is hot July 4th weekend. The Stove is hotter than could be. That's when KD announced his move. LeBron announced his, I believe, that weekend. The Stove is hot for the NBA. Baseball's in the dog days of summer. It's popping. The hot things going on there. This year specifically, the Olympics would have happened. And for me, importantly, Wimbledon, no Wimbledon. July 4th is huge. Great day to celebrate the country and all of the great sports we allow to happen, even though Wimbledon's in Europe. But so I guess my biggest disappointment would be the lack of sporting events we saw, which is kind of a dumb answer, I guess. But that's my biggest disappointment. We missed out on everything, and truly Wimbledon was my main one that I just did not see the grass.
Well, to be fair, our LVT, least valuable thing of 2020, was COVID-19.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was this close to making Rudy Gobert my least valuable player as well, or least valuable person as well. For rubbing everybody's microphones and giving them all COVID-19 and effectively ending the NBA season. But
well, if you listen to the interview that I did with a friend of the show, Jeff Passan, and that's a plug, so make sure to go check that out on the channel. If you listen to that interview, he has some interesting things to say about what would have happened if that player were in the MLB and not in the NBA.
Oh my God.
And how the whole situation unfolded and that kind of stuff. It's a fascinating interview. Go check it out.
It is a great interview.
Thank you. Hopefully that one friend of the show we might have on the podcast at some point. Maybe. I got connections.
I'll pay him.
Yeah, I'd pay him as well. I would pay him.
We could all chip it. I would happily pay Jeff Passan to be on here.
I'd pay him in pictures of my spread a-hole.
Okay. All right.
Wait. Hold on a second.
Boo. Boo.
What do you think you are, Ricky
Anyways,
Gervais?
My pick for biggest disappointment of 2020. We're going to take it back to mixed martial arts, and we're going to take it to February of 2020 when people were still allowed to be in the stands. My biggest disappointment
Oh my
for the
God.
year is the main event of UFC 248, Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero. And you'll notice that this highlight video is only 4 minutes long for a 25-minute fight. And that would be because it was one of the most boring fights I've ever seen in my life. And to be honest with you, I don't really know how it happened because Yoel Romero is known for being a wild action fighter. He's a former Olympic wrestler who never wrestles and a complete genetic freak. And Israel Adesanya is one of the most exciting fighters, if not the most exciting fighter on the planet currently. And we saw that in his fight against Paulo Costa later this fall. And I don't quite know how it happened. But for example, the first 3 minutes of round number 1 was just Yoel Romero literally walking in a circle like this, not moving, just turning in a circle, just with his hands in front of his face.
These are pretty gruesome highlights, man.
I really don't know how this fight ended up being this boring. Can we skip to the end where we saw like the dancing that Yoel Romero was doing?
Josh, if I remember correctly, were we at Ferris watching this fight together?
We were.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Me and Joe were with you, and our girlfriends left us because we were ignoring them to watch this fight, and it wasn't even worth it.
No,
yeah,
very
I
much
mean,
not.
let's skip here. This is the end of the fight. They're just like Yoel Romero is just like holding his hands up and moving his legs around and stuff.
Wow.
Like I don't know, man. And like I said, I don't really know how it happened. This was up there with who was it? Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou for one of the most boring fights I've ever seen in my existence. And Yoel Romero's now with Bellator, and hopefully with that they can do a light heavyweight Grand Prix because that would be insane with the light heavyweight roster that they have. Anyways, that's my biggest disappointment of 2020 because that was set out to be an absolute battle, and it just wasn't. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
Anybody have any honorable mentions for disappointment of the year?
The only thing I could add, Josh already kind of alluded to it, was just no March Madness, no tournament.
No, I'll never forget. Yeah.
That's kind of insane just to think about. But yeah,
it's interesting. It's interesting that Josh brought up the 4th of July because my family has a huge family reunion party every 4th of July, and we always watch baseball. We always watch Wimbledon. Like it's a big sports day, and like when you said that, I immediately knew we were going because this summer was just. I mean, like for me, it was like April and May. I was working at 40 hours a week at a goddamn coffee factory. And I would come home and I would watch the 1991 World Series on MLB Network at 10:30 at night. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like it was so strange having no sports on for so long. And some good stuff came out of it. I thought the bubble was great. Like there was some stuff that was like some really great sporting events and stuff came out of all of this, but at the same time, man, it sucked for a long time.
Yep. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other?
Zach, you got anything?
No, that's it for me.
All right. We'll move on to our next award, the Stovie Award for Sporting Event of the Year. Austin, why don't you start and tell us what your sporting event of 2020 was?
Mark really threw me off earlier with his biggest disappointment. So now I feel obligated to say it, but I'm not. Because I am confident someone will say that answer. If not, it'll be an honorable mention. Mine is Game 3 of the NBA Finals, where Jimmy Butler played 45 minutes and nearly died on the court to make sure that they were not going to get swept at the very least. That was one of the most insane individual performances I've seen, shooting 70% from the field, going 40, 11, and 13. Unbelievable. Playing on-ball defense for 45 minutes. He guarded whoever brought the ball up and did not let them score the basketball, as well as dribbled the ball up and led the offense. I don't even know how it's physically possible to do that, but you could see it on his face in the last couple minutes. He was dying. He was laying on the ground after fouls for an extra 30 seconds, wishing he could take a nap, and then he would just get up, sink both free throws, run down the court, and play defense. One of the most insane games I've ever seen from an individual player. So that's going to be my sporting event of the year, is Game 3 of the NBA Finals.
Mine is going to be Game 4 of the World Series.
Yes.
It was incredible. I just remember, obviously we weren't all together or anything, but just our group chat. Just at the moments leading up to the end of the World Series, and you guys were like, who the F is Brett Phillips? And I was like, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. This guy, there's something about this. I got a feeling. In the center field, the ball is kicked by Chris Taylor. He throws it home. Randy Arozarena trips coming around third base. The ball gets away. Arozarena gets up. He scores. Kenley Jansen is nowhere to be found. It was amazing. It was a back and forth game the entire game. I missed the first 6 innings of that game. I don't remember where I was. I was doing. I had to drive back from class. Maybe I missed the first little bit of the game, and I had it on in the radio, or had it on the radio in the car. But just unbelievable game, and the best thing I saw in 2020, hands down.
All right, well, time to improvise, folks. I'm gonna say sporting event of the year. This is a holistic thing. Props, kind of more of a shout out, not really a true sporting event necessarily. Mine was also going to be Mark's. I'll say in general, the NHL bubble for having no positive COVID tests throughout it. So props to them. And that's a sporting event.
That's true.
That is true. That's a good one. Actually, that's a really good one.
It's funny because my sporting event of the year is the entirety of the NBA playoffs, the 2020 playoffs. You want to talk about, and it's the same thing the NHL did, right? You want to talk about an incredible achievement.
Yeah.
The NBA getting back, we'll play some highlights here from the NBA postseason. The NBA getting back and doing what they did in that bubble with all of those people and not having any positive tests after the first 3 days or something like that. They had 1 or 2 when they first got there.
Yeah.
They laid the template, them along with the MLB not the MLB, the NHL laid the template for how to properly do a bubble sport. And the NBA, is even stepping their game up even more now, doing it without the bubble and still not having, any player COVID tests yet, I should say. So my MVP for 2020 would probably be Adam Silver, but that's beside the point. We don't have that award. So my favorite sports moment of sporting event of 2020 is the entirety of the 2020 NBA playoffs. Anybody else have any honorable mentions behind this award?
I'm just happy one of my honorable mentions was finally said.
Yeah. For me, it had to be Game 4. I do have an honorable mention, and it has to do with the NBA bubble. It's every game the Phoenix Suns played in the NBA bubble. The Phoenix Suns were so much fun to watch in the bubble. They went 8-0. They missed the playoffs. It was just, I don't know. I really like Suns basketball. I love watching Devin Booker play. I don't know why I've randomly liked watching the Suns since Steve Nash was there. Just a huge shout out to the Phoenix Suns for going 8-0 in the bubble and still missing the playoffs.
It's like my random obsession with the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, for me, it's the Suns. I don't know why. Just, I've always liked watching the Suns.
Josh, you got anything?
No, the Suns are good this year. The Suns, by the way, I was a big Kings better early on in the season. Kings are gone. Dead to me. The Suns?
Kings have been dead since 2002.
No, Kings are dead to me in the fact that they've actually beat me. I bet against them multiple times, and that was the dumb thing to do. So,
all right. I wish we could sit here.
Suns are good.
Wish we could sit here all day watching these highlights. Not gonna lie. There's literally a 0% chance that in the future this video becomes monetized. By the way,
No.
Oh, none.
That's fair use. That's fair use.
I've gotten copyright claims on every single YouTube video I've ever used for the show. So we're going to move on to our next award here, and that's Breakout Athlete of the Year. This is an award that I didn't quite think of my answer for until like a half an hour before we started recording because I forgot about it. But Austin, I bet you have a fantastic pick for Breakout.
Before
Before
you go,
what?
Austin, I just want to point out that I just knowing mine is going to be the most unique answer among the four of us. That's all.
I can't wait until it's like LeBron James or something like that.
Dude.
Oh man, wow! This was my jam-packed award that if I could give it out to 100 people, I probably would. I ended up getting it down to 4, and I ended up having a winner, which might surprise you. It is going to be Tyler Hero for the Miami Heat. I understand he's a rookie, and it's kind of cheesy giving a breakout player to a rookie because obviously if they play well, they broke out. But, I mean, he became, if not the best, then obviously Jimmy Butler the best, but the second best player on a team that went to the NBA Finals and beat the Lakers twice as a rookie. He elevated his game, scored 3 points per game more in the playoffs, shot 40% from 3, and became the primary ball handler and basically played point guard in Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, that's incredible to ask from a rookie, and let alone a guy who wasn't drafted in the top 5 picks, top 10 picks. Was he 13th, 14th? I forgot, somewhere in that range, wherever Miami was.
That.
But that's just incredible. I mean, I just loved him out of college, and watching him be able to do that and break out and instantly become an impact guy and to take that team to the NBA Finals is pretty incredible. So that's my breakout player of the year.
Mine is another basketball player, and it's going to sound like a homer pick, but I really thought he broke out more than anyone, and that's Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, his rookie year, averaged 6 points a game. He was the number 3 pick. I understand that, but everyone hated that pick. I hated that pick. I was like, who the hell is this guy coming out of Cal? Never heard of him, never seen him play. And last year he averaged 20. He was getting rebounds, he was handling the ball. He really broke out for the Celtics last year, and he was a huge reason why that team went to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to an inferior team. So I will
An inferior, better coached, maybe not inferior team.
I said that solely to mess with Nunez.
Better breakout player wins.
That's fair. But for me, it's Jaylen Brown because every year he keeps getting better, and he's getting better again this year. So he might be my breakout player for this year too. But yeah, give me some juice in this award.
Awesome. So as everyone knows, I've long been known as the feminist of the podcast and the most progressive man on the show. So my breakout athlete is no surprise to anyone here.
You got time to break up the sausage fest, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you guys may know her. She's a 2019 most improved player from the World Tennis Association, currently ranked number 4 in the world, was in 2 out of 3 Grand Slam finals this year, including a win at the Australian Open. Sophia Kenin, also known as Sonia Kenin, she'll go by. Electric. The 22-year-old American has taken the tennis world by storm this year and came out of really nowhere. First time I saw her was at the Australian this year, and it's just insane. She comes out, she's nuts. She's instantly at the top of competition in the sport, which is saying something for women's tennis right now, which is jam-packed with stars and an aging Serena Williams who should go die off somewhere. And that's just really, it'd be best for this point. That's, I mean, the best thing that could happen to women's tennis is Naomi Osaka, to take Serena off into the woods somewhere in Old Ledger or
okay, all right,
Old Yellow.
Okay.
My bad. Also, sorry. Back to Keenan. One of the best things that I found about her while I was researching more of her, she loved Serena and Maria Sharapova growing up. and she mostly loves Sharapova because she herself prides herself as a fierce competitor. So the competitor in her, Sophia, my breakout athlete of the year. You'll see her next year.
Sophie is fantastic. I watched her at the Australian as well. She is
Yeah.
incredible.
Oh, I forgot. It's my turn. My pick for breakout athlete of the year is a man who bought himself a ticket to the first round of the NFL draft with his standout play this season. I'm talking about a guy who up until the last couple weeks was in the conversation for a top 10 pick. Some people said he was better than Zach Wilson. My pick is Kyle Trask, quarterback for the University of Florida. I'm not going to lie. Before the season, I had no clue in hell who Kyle Trask was. I heard he's good. I know who what the hell is Pitts? Is that his name also
Pitts.
Kyle?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Kyle Pitts.
Oh, Kyle. All right. Kyle Pitts is the man and is one of the best tight end prospects I've seen in a while. But that's beside the point, right? Kyle Trask absolutely lit the NCAA on fire this year. And if I'm a team like the Chicago Bears, I'm taking this guy. Taking this guy in the draft in 2021. I think he's got the stuff. And I think for me, at least, people were talking about going into the season, they were talking about, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance. Zach Wilson could have easily been my pick for breakout athlete of the year, by the way. I feel like nobody was talking about him going into the college football season. So either of those two, I guess. So Kyle Trask, Zach Wilson, those are my picks for breakout athlete of the year. Any honorable mentions for that category?
10 postseason home runs. Randy Arozarena. I mean, I don't. It's pretty self-explanatory if you watch the MLB playoffs. Unbelievable. I mean, every time you come up to bat, you were like, dude, this guy's Barry Bonds. Like, you got to intentionally walk this guy. This ball's going out. So, yeah, Randy is a hell of an honorable mention.
Yeah, Randy was a runner-up for me. I didn't give it to him because he was a rookie. That was the only thing I was like, maybe he hasn't broken out yet. Who knows? It was obviously great playoffs, but he was an honorable mention for me. Zach Wilson was another one for me. It was Randy and Zach Wilson were the two that I was most considering outside of Juice. So
I think I don't really want to go deep into them, but I had Josh Allen and Trevor Bauer as two more.
That's fair.
Trevor Bauer because he's elite now.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a Cy Young candidate last? No, well, actually,
2 years ago.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So let's move on here to our second to last award of the night, and that's going to be Sports Moment of the Year. A little different than sporting event, it's a little different here. Sports Moment of the Year. Austin, why don't you tell me what your moment of the year was?
So most of my awards are have been pretty unbiased tonight. What I think collectively sports fans like. This one is completely personalized. Plays off of Mark's hatred for the Dodgers. It is watching Clayton Kershaw win his first World Series ring and doing it in a fashion where he had a very good postseason. I mean, he's been one of my favorite players ever since I started watching baseball. I would argue to the death that he is one of the best, if not the best pitcher of all time. And so watching him win a ring was just really special, and it kind of pulls together his whole legacy. And there's not much you can say after that. I felt like he was going to be the Dan Marino where everyone just shames him for no rings. But he finally has a ring. He played well in the postseason. And sure, he doesn't have a collectively great postseason resume still, but that was a big hump to get over, and it was amazing to see.
While my hatred for the Dodgers is well documented over the course of this show, my love for Clayton Kershaw is also well documented over the course of this show. So that was in consideration for me as well, was Clayton Kershaw finally winning a ring. For me, this is a really tough one for me, because for me, a lot of moments are defined by fans. if you look at some of the great moments in sports history, the fan reaction is part of them. If you look at the Ray Allen 3 or anything like that, to have fans not be there sort of detracts from a lot of moments for me. But I am going to go to the tennis world, and I'm going to take Naomi Osaka. That was this year, right? Yeah.
Which one? Or what?
When she beat Serena.
No, that was last year.
Was it last year?
U.S. Open?
Yeah.
No, that was last year.
Oh, I thought that was this year. I am so well, shit.
No. He won, sorry. I'll look it up.
I really thought that was 2020.
Yeah, she beat Azarenka this year at the Open.
She beat Azarenka. That's right. Yep.
She did win back, yeah.
All right, so never mind. Give me Dustin Johnson winning the Masters. Because that was my runner-up. DJ has had a long and storied career in the PGA so far, and it's only getting better. He's had some troubles. He obviously was suspended for a while after drug abuse, and he's really grinded to get back to where he was on the PGA Tour. So seeing him win a Masters was really special for me because I've always loved Dustin Johnson. I still think it's hilarious that he could win 10 more green jackets and be the second best athlete in his family, because he is the son-in-law of Wayne Gretzky. But yeah, so in that case, because I really thought that was in 2020, give me DJ winning a green jacket.
Good vamping. Good. So for this one, actually, Zach, if you could allow me to share my screen here, I got a little clip from it. I originally thought I didn't really know where I had one written down, but it was kind of garbage. And then Austin said something about bias, and then I started thinking, and this one's really one that I don't want to let people forget about. And so if I could just, I'm going to share my screen right here and share. So we're just going to go into here. We're going to listen to Joey Votto. This is briefly before the playoffs. I hope to God you can hear it. So let me just get this up here.
Nope.
Can't hear it? All right. Well, that's a shame. But it's Votto saying that this Reds team is, quote, a fucking nightmare. And everyone should be like really on edge. And then they went out and proceeded to get a combined 3 hits, I think, in 2 games. And didn't put up a run against the Braves' vaunted pitching staff, and just looked terrible. They were in both games. Honestly, both games were very fun to watch. They were both of for not scoring much. They were fun to watch. I hadn't watched baseball games in its entirety in probably 5 years, and I watched both of those games. And as awful as they were in terms of excitement in the baseball world, I liked watching him, and I don't want that moment to die. I love Joey Votto, what he's done for the Reds, and I want this to be in his hall speech when he goes in one day. I want there to be this is a fucking nightmare. I want that plaster everywhere.
All right, so
I won a lot of money on game 1 of that series on a live bet.
Yeah.
I remember that. I definitely remember that. Just before we get into my pick for the award, we do have breaking news out of the MLB right now. Friend of the show, Jeff Passons, tweeted that Blake Trinan, who we thought would be one of the top closer options for many teams that were searching for closer, is re-signing with the Dodgers on a 2-year deal. So,
God damn it.
One of the top closing options is returning to his setup role in Los Angeles.
I wanted him so bad in Boston. I wanted Blake Trinan so bad.
The best part about doing these shows is having breaking news while we do it. You know?
Can we get him on here right now to discuss?
Yeah, I'll be sure to call Jeff Passan right now and be like, hey, I know you're probably writing right now, but like, can you be on this podcast for just a couple seconds? Can you drop everything and come join 4 schmucks, 3 of which are wearing bow ties that are too small for them, and one of them who doesn't have pants on, and talk about Blake Trinan too. Josh, you also not have pants on?
I don't.
I will say Passan's been having a great offseason.
He's the man.
He's been breaking news left and right. He's even beaten out Kenny Rosenthal. So
because I said on the show he's the MLB insider.
No, I still put Rosenthal ahead of him.
He's
I still
ESPN's
put
guy.
Kirchin out of here.
Oh, he's certainly the best at ESPN. No denying. Buster Olney stinks. I'm going to go on record and say that right now. I do not like Buster Olney.
Okay, let's not tarnish our
What is
reputation
this?
with ESPN here. We have
This is
to
like
like him to
anti-boomer.
come on the show. Okay.
That's fair.
All right.
That's
Tim Kirchin's a legend.
Tim
We'd like
Kirchin is a legend.
How dare you?
Yeah, I
How
love
dare you,
Tim
Mark?
Kirchin.
Oh,
No, I
like
love
Oldie's
Kirchin.
not. What a shame you are. You're a schmuck.
Okay.
Baseball and
I didn't say a single bad thing about Tim Kirchin. I was talking about a completely different person.
Yeah, no, you're like
Anyways,
anti-boomer.
my
with
pick
only
for
new
sports
channel.
moment of the year is I didn't really have very many positive sports moments as a fan in 2020. My teams did not do very much in terms of teams that I like. But one team that did was a team we've already talked about, and that was the 2020 Miami Heat. And specifically, I want to talk about the fourth quarter of Game 3 of the second round against the Milwaukee Bucks. Going into the fourth quarter at a 12-point deficit and coming out and scoring 50 points in the fourth quarter to beat Milwaukee and stomp on their throat to do what I said on Twitter, which was end the series in 3 games. After you watch that, and I know it was a 7-game series, so they had to go out there and win 4 of them. But after this whole fourth quarter, it was very clear that Milwaukee was done.
Yeah.
Done. The series was
White
done.
Dante.
Giannis started coming up with it. Yeah, White Dante gave me quite a scare. The series was over with. Giannis started coming up lame with an ankle injury. He's like, oh, I'm doing that. And then Miami came out there and they laid the smack down on him in Game 5.
How about Bam Adebayo's block on Jason Tatum in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, that was in the highlight package we watched earlier.
Oh yeah, that was a huge moment.
Oh yeah, that was
hurt.
easily runner-up for my sports moment of the year.
I have
that one hurt a lot.
I have an honorable mention.
Yeah.
It has to be Austin saw this with me actually. I think it just happened within the last month. And it would have to be Randy Orton setting the Fiend on the middle of a WWE ring. So that's up there on mine. That's an honorable mention for moment of the year, setting a man on fire, dousing him in gasoline, making him drink it was in his mouth. That's
my honorable mention was watching Alex Smith walk on a football field to play. That's pretty incredible.
And you're about to watch it again this Saturday for Alex Smith to walk on a football field and play in a playoff game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, goes without saying how unbelievable it is.
I will say, just generally speaking, Alex Smith is largely the reason the football team is in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this team actually wins the division with Kyle Allen playing quarterback? I mean, let's be honest.
Or Dwayne Haskins, may he rest in peace.
That's another one of those gruesome leg injuries, man.
It took Dwayne Haskins going to strip clubs and Kyle Allen destroying his leg for the Washington football team to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, anybody else have any honorable mentions?
Yeah. One for me was, again, the Brett Phillips walk-off hit. I didn't want to give something to awards, but that was amazing. I had, and as much as I hate the Lakers, it's really cool that they won the title this year.
I thought other people would
that.
have that. So I let that on.
Yeah, it's just, that's cool. I'm not going to deny that. Yeah, Kobe died and they won it for Kobe, which is, I'm getting really sick and tired of people still saying they're doing stuff for Kobe at this point.
It's funny because I haven't heard that a single time since the season started, but okay. Go off, King.
I was going to say, I haven't heard that either.
I'm for life.
I'm still seeing stuff all over Twitter that's just like for Kobe and shit like that. And I'm just like, this is annoying at this point.
Do it for Kobe till the end of time. I don't care.
Mark's got a clear 1-year cap on doing it for dead guys, and then he's out. I respect
Absolutely.
It.
Well, as a Celtics fan, it's probably about 3 weeks before he goes back to hating him. So
yeah.
Oh no, I'm firmly back on hating Kobe. I would 3 months later, and I was like, all right, he's dead. Whatever.
Can you let the man be dead for a year at least? Jesus. It's a terrible person.
Less than a
wow,
month later.
shocker. Boston sports fan hates things. Who would have thought?
Boston sports fan hates dead black guy?
Boston
Thought that
/
one.
Philadelphia sports fan. He's not wrong. Mark supports two of the most racist sports cities on planet Earth. Who would have thought this was coming?
Listen, I do. And I completely accept that both of those cities are very
Getting hot in
racist
here?
when it comes to sports, and outside of sports. But I also resent a lot of the racism. You know how much I wanted Torrey Hunter to play center field for the Red Sox. He had one team on his no trade clause, and that was the Red Sox. Like stuff like that pisses me off. But I never liked the guy. I just got to.
Boo. Let him rest in
Listen,
peace. Anybody else got any honorable mentions?
Oh, I'm
Well-
letting him rest in peace. I cried my eyes out the day he died. But at the same time, like 3 weeks
Fake
later, I was like,
fan.
all right, I'm over it.
You're a fake fan.
I might as well add that
Oh,
one. My honorable mentions was opening night Kobe tribute. Watching that live was incredible.
I cried like a baby. It was terrible.
Yeah,
That was very cool.
It was very, emotional.
Josh, you got anything?
Woo.
No, that was it.
All right. Then we will get into our final award of the night. The creme de la creme. The best picture of the Stovies. That is Athlete of the Year 2020. In the future, we might not. I don't want to. I was about to say we'll change it to MVP, but we won't because we want to keep the focus on the athletes here, the people that make these sports happen. The athletes. Now, Austin, let me
could also add
tell
an MVP.
us. What did you say, Mark?
I was gonna say we could ad lib and add an MVP right now.
My MVP of the year is Adam Silver. It would have been Dana White, but then Dana White put out some misinformed hit piece about the media like 2 weeks ago. So that took him out of there. So my MVP of 2020 is Adam Silver. Anybody else got anything for that?
Yeah.
Mine is Bryson DeChambeau for making golf.
Oh.
Did you hear my bum of the
All
year?
right.
What are you talking about,
Yep.
Mark? You fool.
My MVP
Yeah, I heard it.
is actually COVID-19. Only from the
Oh, okay.
perspective,
This is-
only from the perspective of Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Without fans, they are the best team in the NFL. With fans, Josh Allen is a bottom 5 quarterback. He can't contain his emotions. He does crazy things when people cheer him on. He tries to run people over. He tries to lateral footballs. He tries to throw it 80 yards. When there's not fans, look at him go. COVID-19 has saved the Bills season.
I resent that pick. This pick is under protest by Mark Roll. This is
Josh, who's your MVP of 2020?
That's all I'm saying.
Me.
Okay.
Myself.
Okay.
I changed my pick. My MVP is Zach Nunez for hosting the Best Sports Podcast.
Hey, look at you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Shout
Anyways.
out Zach for making this happen.
Austin, Athlete of the Year 2020. Who is it?
Athlete of the year. Couple historic playoff comebacks, a playoff or a Super Bowl comeback as well. A top 3 MVP finish this year. No doubt it's going to be Patrick Mahomes for me. As long as he's not injured, he's looked like an MVP player with a Super Bowl and an MVP caliber season, and it's hard for someone to beat that, to be honest with you, in one single year.
As long as he's not injured, he's the best football player on planet Earth.
Did everyone pick Pat Mahomes?
No,
Oh.
I did not.
No, I didn't either.
Oh.
One of my honorable mentions, I'll say, is not an athlete. So be ready for that.
Okay. Mark, who was your pick for Athlete of the... Actually, before we get to Mark, Austin, tell us your honorable mentions.
My second honorable mention is LeBron James. Captivating Los Angeles. That's the athlete. Don't worry.
Okay.
Captivating Los Angeles. Yeah, obviously winning the NBA Finals in his 19th season, being as good as he is, being still arguably the best player in the NBA, even if it's arguable, it's still arguable, right? That's pretty crazy for a player that old. I mean, I don't know. And another old man at 3, not an athlete, of course, Tom Brady.
What?
Yeah, I mean, nobody looks at that guy and says athlete, but he's number 3 for me. Going to a new
Whoa.
team, throwing for 40 touchdowns, 10 picks, a remarkable season for him, showing that he's still got a lot left in the tank. You can say what you want about his weapons, his help, his coach, the offense. It doesn't matter. When you're able to go out and do that at his age, it's pretty remarkable.
Stop the presses on longtime Buccaneers legend, Tom Brady. Okay. Austin again. TB12. I was looking up the other day on the TB12 method. Maybe I'm a TB12 guy. Maybe I'm buying some resistance. Maybe I'm buying into the TB12 diet. Maybe I am the next TB12. I looked into it. It's very gross expensive, but maybe that's me. I mean, the assault to call this man not an athlete. Run circles around you for hours. How dare you?
I would beat him. I would go run 80 faster than he would run a 40. And I'd run it backwards.
All right, Mark, who's your pick for athlete of the year 2020?
I'm going to give my honorable mentions first.
Oh, okay. That's a good pick, actually. That's a good idea.
We're discussing the nominees.
Yes.
Honorable mentions include Anthony Davis for being the best player on the Lakers.
What did you just see, Josh?
You just saw the #1 top play on SportsCenter is what I just saw. Dude from Miami just freaking posterized some guy on North Carolina.
Nice.
So yeah, for me it's AD over LeBron because I thought Anthony Davis was I really honestly thought he was the best player on the Lakers.
Homer, you don't like
and I
LeBron. We know.
Neither do I. You still say
No, like it.
Mark has a
for
grudge
me,
against
it's
LeBron.
I have multiple grudges against LeBron James. I just
Because he
like
ate up and spit out Boston for the better part of a decade.
Correct.
That's exactly
Not
what
the better part. 15 years.
Yeah, sorry, you're right. Yeah.
No, that's absolutely my grudge against LeBron. But I honestly thought AD was just better than LeBron at basketball last year. That's just my honest opinion. And I think he's the best player on the Lakers going into this year. Mike Trout is a runner-up for me.
Pretty good.
Patrick Mahomes is a runner-up for me. But for me, the athlete of the year led his team to a 13-3 season that realistically could have been 15-1. And that is the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen.
Damn.
Josh Allen.
I want you to remind you that lateral in the playoffs was
that happened in
2020.
2020.
Yeah, I understand that. And what did he do? He came back and became a top 3 MVP candidate.
How is he not
in the NFL?
How is this not a breakout then? This feels like a most improved player award. He's clearly not even the best in his own sport.
If the NFL, the NFL, you don't have to be the best in your sport to win athlete of the year. I mean, that's, but
I agree.
Josh Allen, if the NFL had an MIP, Josh Allen would absolutely win it, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that his ability to, and obviously Stephon Diggs plays a large part in this, but to lead this Buffalo team to a 13-win season, and I get, Austin's take on the fans is certainly interesting.
You'll see this weekend. There's fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will see, and I think the Bills are going to win this game by quite a large margin.
Yeah, I still don't think the Colts are good, by the way.
Yeah, I don't. I haven't thought the Colts were good
defense is really good, though, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? And the run, which Buffalo can't. The run defense is so cheap, Swiss cheese.
Okay, guys, we're not doing this right now. All right.
All right, sorry.
But what he was able to do in Buffalo was amazing. And this all boils down to, I hope other Zach, you guys know my friend Zach. I hope he
Yeah.
listens to this podcast because before the season, we had a bet, $50 that said Josh Allen. I said he wasn't going to throw for 4,000 yards. I said he wasn't going to throw for 28 touchdowns, and I said he wasn't going to finish in the top 10 in MVP voting.
Well, you lost. So
It was
I
a three.
was, I was incredibly wrong because he might finish top 2. I think there's a chance he finishes ahead of Mahomes just for what he was able to do for Buffalo this year. And right now, I'm not afraid to say that he's the best quarterback Buffalo's ever had.
Well, that's
Well, Buffalo fans will say Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly sucks. Don't even get me started on Jim Kelly. Nunez, I don't know if you muted the chat in time, but you've clearly seen my feelings on Jim Kelly.
yes, I have. I don't need. Let's not rehash that.
I know. That's why that's.
But I think he's the best quarterback Buffalo's ever had, and I think he had he's a breakout, but at the same time, I think he had the most impressive year I saw this year was Josh Allen. So,
Josh, honorable mentions, and then your pick for Athlete of the Year 2020.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it because my athlete's pretty chalk. So one of my honorable mentions then, if I had to come up with one, would be a guy who, and again, I'm the only one really here that Nunez too that cares about the WWE. But let's add in someone who went 29-32 this year on matches in his career. I don't know if you saw this stat. He wasn't pinned all year. He won 90% of his matches this year. That would be the tribal chief and one of the top attractions in the WWE right now, the world of wrestling, is Roman Reigns. It's insane. He lost 2 matches this year, one by DQ because he started hitting someone with a sledgehammer, and someone else came in and attacked him. So another like DQ or something. He didn't lose by pinfall all year. It's insane. They're just giving this guy everything. And at every turn, fans will find a way to hate him, just like I do. They made him a heel to make it not cool anymore to hate him. But no, he still sucks, and I hope he loses his title as soon as Brock Lesnar comes back. But anyways, my athlete of the year, I mean, Super Bowl MVP, right? MVP of the league. He had one of them. Hasn't he won MVP? Not last year, though.
It was 2 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, number 1 again in the AFC. Guy's just automatic. You throw this guy out there, he's going to win you that game. Guarantee. I'll see you with your second one. That's just I don't see how they can't win it again this year. So
yeah,
Patrick.
I'm glad me and Josh went with a non-athlete as our honorable mention.
My honorable mention, Patrick Mahomes is absolutely an honorable mention for me. He was not my pick for Athlete of the Year, but absolutely, totally understand. The man who is probably, rightfully so, begrudgingly going to an NFL MVP, Aaron Rodgers, is another honorable mention for myself. That is my pick, by the way. If we had Y'all Must Have Forgot award of 2020, that would be Aaron Rodgers. For everyone and their mother writing Aaron Rodgers off the last 2 seasons, for him to come back. And Matt LaFleur, to me, is Coach of the Year. Aaron Rodgers led the league with 48 touchdown passes this season.
That good?
It's not bad. I'll say that much.
And Devontae Adams had 18 of those in 14 games.
Correct. And Aaron Rodgers
pretty good.
proved that, I guess at this point, he's still a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. Who'd have thunk? Not me going into the season. So Aaron Rodgers is another honorable mention of mine. Another honorable mention of mine was my pick for Fighter of the Year in UFC. That's Davison Figueiredo. We've already hashed this over with his 4 wins this year. And then we will get to my pick, a man who means more than he said it himself 1,000 times. He's more than just an athlete. And my pick for Athlete of the Year 2020 is LeBron James for his work not only on the court, winning the championship for the Lakers, but off the court with his work with the I Promise School, with him heading the talks for the fight against voter suppression going into the general election this past year. LeBron is proving time and time again how to age gracefully in sports, and proves that life is more than just shutting up and dribbling. So LeBron James is my pick for Athlete of the Year 2020. So yeah, that is. I guess that'll do it. I wish we had some music to like play us out.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
My bow tie sinks.
Oh, okay.
Didn't sink. Come on, man. I swear to God, I put this thing on. It took me 10 minutes. I heard this song 12 times. Now, I needed to sing. So,
All right, we won't have music to play us out. Remind us for next year that we'll have to do an actual production for the award show. A break from our terrible Zoom call and like, I don't know, sit at a dining room table or something like that.
You guys want Wonderwall
yeah,
or
play me some
something?
Wonderwall.
Yeah,
man.
play Wonderwall to play us out. Anyways, so here's Wonderwall. And I'd like to say that were you gonna say something, Josh?
Mark, you know any Little Dicky?
No, just
No,
play
I don't.
Wonderwall.
Little
There we go. All right. On behalf of myself, Zach Nunez, and the three of us here, and Connor as well, if he ever decides to show up again for the show, I'd like to say thank you very much for a fantastic 2020 in the year of Hot Stove. We made the bold transition to podcast form, and it's gone pretty well so far. And it's going to allow us to do this show for hopefully a long time to come. So make sure to follow us on Twitter at HotStoveWMYO. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, smash the notification button, leave a comment if you're feeling like commenting. And like I said, my name is Zach Nunez for Josh Boheim, who's holding up the lighter, Mark, who's playing Wonderwall, and Austin, who you can't see and doesn't have pants on. This has been the 2020 Stovie Awards. We will return next week with our breakdown of Super Wildcard Weekend and our talk of the rest of the NFL postseason. Yeah, this has been Hot Stove. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We love you. See you guys later.
See you.